Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on the Tavern gaming channel. My name is Melon, for those of you who maybe don't know me. I've been part of the Tavern for a little over 5 years now. I joined in July of 2015 and really been enjoying my time here. The reason I'm making this video is because I want to help out some of you guys in the community and maybe others that have just found this video by chance. Now, I've been playing Call of Duty since I was 9 years old. I've played every single Call of Duty since 2009. My least played one was Infinite Warfare. I'm sure a lot of you can realize why it just wasn't that good of a game. But nonetheless, I've been playing since then, so I know a thing or two about playing these games, and I've been watching competitive Call of Duty since 2013 with Call of Duty Ghosts, and dabbled in competitive play for about 3 years now. And what some of you guys may know that play with me is I'm always at the top of the leaderboard. I'm always slaying in game, and you're probably asking yourself, how does this guy do it? Like, what's he doing that I'm not doing? And I want to help out a few of you guys. And obviously, you know, this video isn't going to make you instantly the best at Modern Warfare or any Call of Duty, but it will certainly help you maybe fine-tune some of your skills. The first thing I want to go over is settings. It's very easy to kind of get into a game or buy a game for the first time, download it, and go right into a match and just keep playing matches. But I think one of the more underrated things to do is go and look at settings and maybe research what settings are good, what settings are bad for a game. So looking at settings here, settings are one of those things where most of it is preference, and as you play the game, you'll kind of get used to certain settings. But first thing I want to go over is button layout. It's really up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. The more comfortable you are, the better you'll be. Next, I want to go over sensitivity. Now, I play on 6.7. I used to play on 6.6. I just recently switched to 6.7 because I like the vertical sensitivity to be a little bit higher in case people are drop shotting or jump shotting. I can still get that quick headshot on them. Anything below 5 is usually not good, just because in close range gunfights you'll probably get smoked by people who are running high sensitivity. So if you're running anything below 5, I would recommend kind of inching up higher to higher sensitivities as you play. I mean, I used to play on 4 back in the day, and realizing it now, that was like a mistake because like it was way too slow and my movement was clunky because I just was like slowly looking around. And the way I fixed that was I raised my sensitivity by 1, probably like every single day, and then I found the right one that I was comfortable with. The ADS sensitivity multiplier is entirely up to you. I think by default it's at 1.3. I'm not sure. You can fact check me on that. Oh no, it says right there, default value is 1. Duh. So I change it to 1.3. You don't have to do this. This is preference again. It's one of those things that you kind of got to look after. It's really touchy-feely. You really got to play with it to really figure out what you want from it. The next thing is aim response curve type. Now this is new to Modern Warfare. It's a little bit confusing. I can't really explain it very well. I'd recommend looking up YouTube videos, but honestly you don't really need to do that because you can just try it out and see if you like it. I recently switched to dynamic. I've been doing really well with dynamic, so I'm not going to touch it anymore. I have controller vibration on. That's entirely up to you. Aim assist, obviously you want that on, but there's different types of aim assist. I use standard. It really doesn't matter unless, you know, it's one of those comfortability things, I guess. All this extra stuff is really just kind of extra stuff that you don't really need to pay attention to. The only thing that I would maybe look into is automatic sprint. I don't use automatic sprint because I like to be in full control of my movement, but that's entirely up to you. This is an X factor that we'll get into later, but the slide behavior. Now, if you have this set to hold, it works, but setting it to tap will make you extra good in movement, and I'm going to get to that later. The next thing that I recently changed that has made my life way easier in terms of seeing enemies and the world uh, in the game is the colorblind type. Now, I'm not colorblind, but there's a certain setting in Modern Warfare, the one that you see on your screen now, that actually makes things brighter. The sky is more blue, buildings are more vibrant, just everything just pops. So you'll be able to see enemies better if you have this on. Colorblind target, if you switch this to interface, then it's just going to go to the menu. If you switch it to both, it's going to go to both the world and the interface. I set it to world because I don't like my settings or my UI to be all bright and weird. This is a huge one. World motion blur and weapon motion blur. This is big. This is a must. If you have this on, you're crazy. You got to turn this off. This is not needed in any video game because the human eye already motion blurs things. So like it just doesn't need to be there. It makes things harder to see when you're moving, and obviously you're going to be moving a lot in this game, so why have it on? I changed my mini-map to square, mainly because it has a bigger kind of width and height, so you get more coverage of the map. And then I have the mini-map rotation enabled, just easier to see. And this is something you can try out yourself. Alright, so now that we're through settings, I want to talk about weapons and loadouts. Now, in Call of Duty is designed to be a fun, casual game, which is understandable. It's been like that for years. But if you want to be one of the better players in the map, you got to use what's really, really good. The two main weapons in this game that are really, really good are obviously the M4A1 and the MP5. And there's three class setups that I want to go over for the M4A1 and the MP5. First one is the standard M4A1. I use this occasionally. It's not my favorite M4A1, but we'll get to my favorite in a little bit. So first I use the stock M16 barrel. I use the Viper Reflex sight, the Forge Tac CQS, the stippled grip tape, and the tactical foregrip. This is the best combination that I've found personally. Now you can play around with this and look at the different settings you'll get in the bottom left of the screen and kind of feel it for yourself, but this is the best one that I found for me. Now a lot of people with the optic, for some reason, they like using the Cronin. I think the Cronin makes the stability whacked out. Like it's weird. I don't like it. I use the Viper Reflex. I just find it way easier. It's more fluid, but again, some of this is up to preference, but I would definitely recommend trying this exact class out. The next M4 class that I have set up is my mobile M4. This is my favorite class to use in this game, just because it's very versatile, it has some range, and you can be very quick with everything you're doing. First I have the compensator for the muzzle, the stock M16 Grenadier for the barrel, the no stock, the granulated grip tape, and the tactical foregrip. Now the only difference here is obviously no sight, no stock, and a different grip tape. This is an entirely mobile M4, and it's just insane. I'm going to get into a match later, and I'm going to show you why this is so incredibly OP. There's something about it, the way the weapon combinations work, it's just insane. So the next class I want to go over is the MP5. Now this is one of those things where there's no argument you can make for this. I mean, this is absolutely the best MP5 class you can have. You might be able to put some other stuff in there, but really this is the best one, honestly. I use the collapsible stock, sleight of hand, stipple grip tape, the 10mm auto 30-round magazine, and the Mark IV grip. This is by far the most OP MP5 in the game. I'm sure if you go to other people, they may say differently, but maybe they haven't tried out this. This is incredibly fast, incredibly just accurate. It's just amazing. So these are the main classes that I use whenever I'm playing in the CDL playlist, and just for reference, the CDL playlist is the playlist that uses competitive rule sets, maps, modes, banned weapons for the Call of Duty League. So I use this stuff and I play this playlist all the time. So the next thing I want to talk about is your movement and the way you move in the game, and some other tips and tricks within the game. So I'm going to start up a match here and go over a few things. So here I am on Hackney Yard. I'm sure you've played this map before. It's a pretty good map, and for educational purposes, I'm on it right now. No bots. I just want to get in a match, private match, and show you guys a few things. So the first thing I want to talk about is centering. Now, I'm sure you guys haven't heard of this before. It's kind of one of those secret things that the pros use. So centering is having your crosshairs always ready for a gunfight, and kind of, give and take, similar attributes that come with it. So I'm gonna head up this top catwalk here, and so notice this is where the B flag is in domination, and this is also where one of these sites is for search and destroy. So this is one of those high value environments, those target rich environments that you're always going to see gunfights. You're always going to see gunfights up here, you're going to see gunfights up here, and you're going to see gunfights right here, and maybe down here if they're pushing this bottom L below here. So centering, here's an example of centering. So you have somebody coming out of this top window right here, and they're going to get on this head glitch. 9 times out of 10, if they know what they're doing, they're probably going to get on this head glitch right here, on this little vent. So, if you come around the corner and you're kind of just doing this, and you're aiming right here, you're going to get smoked so quickly. The time to kill in this game is incredibly fast, so being ready is extremely important. So instead of coming around the corner like this, you should be coming around the corner like this, and aiming down sights. Now, I don't always aim down sights, just because snapping is relatively easy in this game as long as you have the right attachments. But you should always come around the corner aiming in the target-rich areas. Now, like I said, aiming kind of like willy-nilly over here and whatnot, like you're just gonna have to like readjust, and it's gonna take milliseconds, and milliseconds count in Call of Duty. Like milliseconds off your ADS and just your reaction time in general. So it's really important that these kind of things are practiced. So the next type of movement I want to talk about is sliding. And like I said earlier, I put my slide behavior on tap, and this is the reason why. It's going to be a lot quicker to slide in this game if you have it on tap. So if you're double sprinting and you got to hold it, that's another millisecond or even seconds that you're holding onto another button. And usually most people, if you're playing on default controls and not using any like variation of like hand position, you're probably gonna still have your thumb on the B button, and that's time away from your right analog stick, which is used for aiming. So if you tap, right, as I tap it, I can move right back to my right analog stick, and I'm always ready for a gunfight. But if you're holding it, you're gonna be a lot slower. So making sure that you have the fastest settings available is super important. It's almost always like life and death, like in game. Like settings are so important and incredibly underrated, and I can't believe like people like just don't check their settings. It's like really crazy because it can make you that much better. The other type of movement I want to go over is bunny hopping. Now I know, I get it, bunny hopping is extremely annoying, but if you can't beat them, you join them. And bunny hopping is actually pretty fun in this game. So, there's an obvious just regular bunny hop like this. You're not really going to get much out of that, but there is a kind of like a glitchy like bunny hop that you can do. So firstly, you want to start double sprinting, and then as you start jumping, you want to tap the A button again. So you do this kind of weird like floating thing, and it takes a while to get used to, but it's like insanely hard to counter, and I'm sure if you've played this game enough, you've experienced this, and you're like, how the heck does this guy do that? Well, this is that bunny hop thing. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to get down. I'm still in the process of getting it down every single time, but when you time it right, it looks like exactly like that. Next thing I want to talk about is slide canceling. Slide canceling is used a lot, especially in pro play. You don't have to use it, but it certainly helps. Now, there's two types of slide canceling. There's slide to aim, and then double tap B to stop sliding. So here's the aim one. So you stop sliding as soon as you ADS, and then the other one is where you double tap the B button as you're sliding. So there's an immediate stop. So here's a regular slide, and here's a slide cancel. So the next thing I want to talk about is incorporating everything I just told you about into your game and using it simultaneously. One of the things I like to do is slide into head glitches while also centering. It sounds complicated, but it happens in like 1 second. So this is an example. So I'm coming in over this overhang, boom, right into the head glitch. I slid in, super surprising. They're usually not going to expect it. It's just one of those things where it's just super hard to counter, and it will give you an advantage in a gunfight. So next I want to show you guys my gameplay within an actual game, and kind of going through and talking through some of the things that I do just simultaneously with Instinct. So we're hopping into a Hackney Yard TDM. Actually very fortunate to get the same map I was already on, talking about the things you can do. So it'll be easier to understand what I'm talking about now. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the class that I was going over earlier, my favorite core class, it's Super Mobile. So I'm going to use this gameplay to talk over kind of what I'm thinking. I don't usually play TDM a lot, but I'm sure my map knowledge will carry over from other games. So my first instinct, TDM, going to go to the middle. Gonna bunny hop this. I don't see anybody, so they're probably going in this L area, so I'm gonna slide in. Nothing still, so they're probably coming out of spawn, and surely they're out of spawn. So map knowledge is one of those things where it can get you a couple kills like that. So I didn't see anybody in the middle or that top L area, so I was like, okay, they're probably in spawn then. And since I pushed those spawns, they just spawned out over here, which means I flipped spawns, or our teammates did. It doesn't really matter, but map knowledge is one of those things. Learning the spawns is really important, and incorporating all the things that I've talked about, it will really help you out a lot. So there seem to be spawning out over here. We seem to be spawn trapping. See if my teammates go down, so I'm going to go ahead and nade their spawn. If I can hit marker, get some information. Of course, I get bodied by a shotgun. That usually doesn't happen with CDL. That's why I really like playing CDL, because there's nothing crazy like that. So I'm just going to keep playing, and I'll put in some highlights for you guys.
Halfway there, step it up.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Obviously, this video won't make you insanely better at Call of Duty, but it will give you a few more tips and tricks to help you out a little bit and get you a better understanding of the game, and maybe help you pick up another kill or two, maybe get that kill streak you've been trying to get. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you all enjoy. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're going to try out any of these things. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you want to play with me, I'm always down. Just message me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.